Meadow Creek, a picturesque town nestled in the heart of the countryside where everyone knows each other and life moves at a gentle pace. A small town, a safe place, until Emily Hart's murder. The tranquility was shattered and the sense of security was replaced by fear and uncertainty. Emily was the girl next door, loved by all. She was the heart of the community, always smiling, always helping others. A bright future ahead. Then, the unthinkable. Her dreams and aspirations were cut short in a moment of violence that no one saw coming. Emily found dead in her home, October 25, 2024. The news spread like wildfire, leaving the town in shock and disbelief. A date forever etched in Meadow Creek's memory. Fear gripped the town. The once tight-knit community now looked at each other with suspicion and dread. The killer was still out there. Who could it be? The question lingered in every conversation, every glance, every shadow. The question haunted everyone. Life in Meadow Creek would never be the same. The sense of unease was palpable and the town's innocence was lost forever. The discovery was chilling. Mrs. Peterson, Emily's neighbor, noticed something was wrong. Emily's mail piled up, no lights at night. Mrs. Peterson's heart pounded as she approached Emily's house. The front door was slightly ajar. She called Emily's name. Silence. Dread washed over her. She peeked inside. A scream caught in her throat. Emily lay there, her life taken. The police arrived. Sirens wailed. The nightmare was real. Meadow Creek had lost its innocence. Detective Martin Gray got the call. It was late at night and the city was cloaked in darkness. The phone's shrill ring pierced the silence of his small office. A murder. His heart sank. The news hit him like a ton of bricks, leaving him momentarily breathless. He had seen many cases, but this one felt different. He knew the victim. Young Emily Hart. Her face was familiar, a haunting reminder of innocence lost. She was just 22 with her whole life ahead of her. He remembered her bright smile. It was the kind of smile that could light up a room, now extinguished forever. Memories of her laughter echoed in his mind. He had seen her grow up in Meadow Creek, a small town where everyone knew each other and Emily was the heart of the community. She was loved by all. Now, he had to face her family with this horrific news. The thought of their grief weighed heavily on him. He dreaded the moment he would see their faces crumble. The weight of the case pressed down on him. It was more than just another case, it was personal. The pressure to find the killer was immense. He vowed to find Emily's killer. He couldn't let her death be in vain. Every clue, every lead would be meticulously followed. He owed it to her and her family. Justice for Emily was the only thing that mattered. He envisioned the scales of justice tipping in her favor, bringing peace to her restless spirit. This case would test him. He could feel it in his bones. But he was ready. For Emily, for her family, and for the town of Meadow Creek, he would not rest until justice was served. Suspicion fell on those closest to Emily. The air was thick with tension, and every glance carried a hidden meaning. Friends and family, once united, now eyed each other with distrust.
Her boyfriend Mark, devastated and heartbroken. He couldn't believe what had happened. His world had shattered, and he was left picking up the pieces. Their fights were no secret. Neighbors often heard their raised voices, the arguments that echoed through the walls. It was a relationship on the edge, teetering on the brink of collapse. Could it have been him? The guilt in his eyes, the hesitation in his voice. Every word he spoke was scrutinized, every action questioned.
Then there was Mr. Davis, her reclusive neighbor. A man of few words, he lived in the shadows, observing the world from behind his curtains. He kept to himself, always watching. His eyes followed every movement, every visitor. The town whispered about his strange habits, his eerie silence. Was his silence a mask, a cover for something more sinister? The questions lingered, unanswered, feeding the growing paranoia.
And what about the stranger? The man in the hoodie seen near Emily's house that night? A shadowy figure, moving with purpose, disappearing into the darkness. A fleeting shadow, gone in an instant. No one knew who he was or what he wanted. His presence was a mystery, adding to the town's unease.
Whispers filled the town. Secrets lurked beneath the surface. Every corner held a story, every face a potential suspect. The small town was a cauldron of suspicion and fear. Detective Gray had his work cut out for him. The puzzle was complex, the pieces scattered. He knew that somewhere within the whispers and shadows lay the truth, waiting to be uncovered.